Welcome to Mediate and Moderate with Matt. I am your host, Matt Punzalan, and today we will be talking about moderation and mediation, as this is a LBY2STA final exam. So let's start with moderation. So, what is moderation? Well, the moderator is a qualitative or quantitative variable that affects the strength of the relationship between an independent and a dependent variable. Basically, moderation is how the third variable or the moderator affects the independent variable. Now let's take a look at the graph that was given. It can be seen here that there is moderation due to there being three variables presented on the graph. Now, let's take a deeper look into this graph. On the x-axis, there are two things, but it is considered one variable, namely low work engagement and high work engagement. This can be categorized as just work engagement, but into two different levels. Next, we can take a look at the y-axis and we can see that there is innovative behavior. These are represented by the numbers 2.8, 3, 3.2, 3.4, 3.6, 3.8, and 4. Now, at the lowest part of the graph, we can see low LMX and high LMX. Low LMX is represented by a whole straight line, and high LMX is represented by a broken straight line. Now, let's take a look at each of the variables. First, the independent variable, which is work engagement. Work engagement is defined as producing positive outcomes both at the individual level as well as the organizational level. This can be seen on the x-axis. Next would be the dependent variable, which is innovative behavior. This is defined as the introduction and application of new ideas, products, processes, and procedures to a person's work, role, work unit, or organization. Finally, we take a look at the moderator, which is the leader-member exchange, which is defined as a relationship-based dyadic theory of leadership. And according to this theory, leadership resides in the quality of the exchange relationship developed between leaders and their followers. Now, let's analyze the graph. First, we will look at low work engagement. In this part of the graph, it can be seen that due to the workers not being positive or not having a positive outlook on their work, this causes their innovative behavior to suffer, and it is shown that their innovative behavior is relatively low, with it being a 3. It can also be seen in the graph that the high and low LMX are on the same part of the graph, which again is at 3. Thus, we can say that even if the worker has a good or bad relationship with their boss, if their mindset is not positive, if they are not positive about their work, they will not be able to innovate or bring new ideas into their workspace. Next, let's take a look at high work engagement. This part of the graph is already very different from the other part of the graph, which is low work engagement. It can be seen on this part that the scores of high work engagement are already much higher than that of the low work engagement. High work engagement and low LMX has a score of around 3.3, which is already higher than both of the low work engagement. And on the other hand, high work engagement and high LMX has a high score of 3.8, which is higher than high work engagement and low LMX. With this information, it can be said that good relationships between workers and leaders can lead to much more and better innovative behavior within the workforce. Now that we have looked, interpreted, and analyzed the data that was given, what exactly does this mean now? How can we apply this information given to us into the real world? Well, what the data is basically trying to say is that in order for there to be more innovation, more new ideas in the workplace, workers must have a positive outlook in their work. They must not have negative thoughts or think badly of their work. In addition to this, they also must have a good relationship with their leader. This is very vital in their work so that they may think of new ideas, converse with their leader, who they may just think as another friend, another colleague, instead of someone much higher than them, and they could also think of new ideas. If they do not have any of these, if they do not have a positive outlook or a bad relationship with their leader, they will not do so well. They will plateau and not innovate as much. It can also be said that the LMX, or Leader Member Exchange, moderates work engagement. Now that we are done with moderation, let's move on to mediation. So, what is mediation? Well, the mediator is a qualitative or quantitative variable that causes mediation between the dependent variable and the independent variable. To put it simply, this means that moderation is the reason for the effect. In addition to this, it also explains the relationship between the IV and the DV. Now, let's take a look and interpret at the graph given to us for mediation. In the graph, it is seen that there are three variables. First, on the bottom left is health, on the bottom right is sleep quality, and on top is depression. Now, which variables are which, you might ask? So, the independent variable, of course, on the bottom left is health. The dependent variable on the bottom right is sleep quality. And the mediator, which is on top, is depression. From the graph, it can be seen that health has a direct effect on sleep quality. This is seen as health, the health box, has a direct arrow going to the box of sleep quality. Hence, the direct effect. Now, on the other hand, it can also be seen that depression is quote-unquote an avenue for health going to sleep quality. This basically means that depression can also affect sleep quality, though it is not health. This is the mediator. Therefore, we can say that depression is also the indirect effect of sleep quality. Now, you may be asking, how can we interpret this data in real life? There aren't any numbers or anything, they're just boxes with arrows. Well, according to the National Blood, Heart, and Lung Institute, sleep deprivation and deficiency can cause major health risks and health problems. These include injuries, physical health, mental health problems, and even death. In relation to this, according to the US National Library of Medicine, disordered sleep or poor sleep quality is highly linked to future depression. Thank you for listening and thank you for watching this video. Once again, I am Matt Punzalan for Mediate and Moderate with Matt, a final output on moderation and mediation in LBY2STA.